A few days later, Gratif Shemba left his hotel rather later than usual in the morning. He was not feeling well and had to struggle against the spells of giddiness, only half physical in their nature, accompanied by a swiftly mounting dread, a sense of futility and hopelessness, but whether this referred to himself or to the outer world he could not tell. In the lobby he saw a quantity of luggage lying straight and ready, asked the porter whose it was, and received in answer the name he already knew he should hit at, of the Polish family. The expression of his ravaged features did not change. He only gave that quick lift of the head with which we sometimes receive the uninteresting answer to a casual query. But he put another.
When? After luncheon.
The man repeated. He nodded and went down to the beach. It was an unfriendly scene. Little crisping shriveling all across the wide stretch of shallow water between the shore and the first sandbank. The whole beach, once so full of color and life, looked now, I don't know. All of season, it was nearly deserted and not even very clean. A camera on a tripod stood at the edge of the water, apparently abandoned. It is like a cloud snapped in a freshening wind.
Tezio was there, in front of his cabin, with the 3 or 4 playfellows still left him. Aschenbach set up his chair some halfway between the cabins and the water, spread a rug over his knees, and sat looking on. The game this time was unsupervised, the elders being probably busy with their packing, and it looked rather lawless and out of hand. Joshua, the sturdy lad in the battle suit, with the black, brillianting hair, became angry at handful of sand thrown in his eyes. He challenged Tezio to a fight, which quickly ended in downfall of the weaker. And perhaps the causer nature saw that here a chance to avenge himself at last by one cruel act for his long weeks of subserviency. The victor would not let the vanquished get up, but remained kneeling on Tazio's back, pressing Tazio's face into the sand for so long a time that it seemed the exhausted lad might even suffocate. He made spasmodic efforts to shake the other hold off, less still, and then began a feeble twitching, just as Aschenbach was about springing it gently to the rescue. Judge should let his victim go. Tazio, very pale, half sat up and remained so, leaning on one arm for several minutes with darkening eyes, brown hair. Then he rose and walked slowly away. The others called him, at first gaily, then imploringly. He would not hear. Joshua was evidently overtaken by swift remorse. He followed his friend and tried to make his peace, but Tazel motioned him back with a jerk of one shoulder and went down to the water's edge. He was barefoot and wore his striped linen suit with the red black snow. Then he rose and walked slowly away. The others called him, at first gaily, then imploringly. He would not hear. Joshua was evidently overtaken by swift remorse. He followed his friend and tried to make his peace, but Tazel motioned him back with a jerk of one shoulder and went down to the water's edge. He was barefoot and wore his striped linen suit with the red black snow.
There he stayed a little, with bent head, tracing figures in the wet sand with one toe, then stepped into the shallow water, which at its deep pace did not wade his knees, waded idly through it and reached the sandbar. Now he paused again, with his face turned seaward, and next began to move slowly leftwards along the narrow strip of sand the sea left bar. He paced there, divided by an expanse of water from the shore, from his mates by his moody pride, a remote and isolated figure, with floating locks out there in sea and wind, against the misty instant. Once more he paused to look, with a sudden recollection, or by an impulse. He turned from the waist up in an exquisite movement, one hand resting on his hip, and looked over his shoulder at the shore.
The watcher said just as he had said that time in the lobby of the hotel, when first thrilling gray eyes had met his own. He rested his head against the chair back and followed the movements of the figure out there. Then lifted it as it were in answer to Tazel's gaze. It sank on his breast. The eyes looked out beneath their lids, where his whole face took on the relaxed and brooding expression of deep slumber. It seemed to him the pale and lovely summoner out there smiled at him and beckoned, as though, with the hand he lifted from his hip, he pointed out a world as he hovered on before into an immensity of richest expectation. And, as so often before, he rose to follow. Some minutes passed before anyone hastened to the aid of the elderly man sitting there collapsed in his chair. They brought him to his room, and before nightfall, a shocked and respectful world received the news of his disease.